On the mining world of Harkon 7, under a blood-red sky, a young boy named Kai lived in the shadows of power. He was small, thin, and always dirty, just a stable boy for the great alien overlords known as the Dravari. They were tall, scaled creatures, with silver armor and glowing eyes, rulers of this harsh planet and hundreds more across the stars. Kai's job was simple: clean the floors, feed the beasts, and stay silent. If he made noise, he was beaten. If he made a mistake, he was punished. He had no family, no friends, no home, just a corner of the stables where he slept beside the warm pipes that hissed steam at night. No one noticed Kai. He was nothing, invisible, or so they believed. But Kai had a secret. Every night when he slept, he heard a strange sound in his dreams. It was a song, not like anything the Dravari allowed. It was deep, full of fire and wind, full of stars and light. A song that called to him. And every morning when he woke, his hands were warm and glowing faintly with soft red light. He told no one, not even the other stable workers who barely looked at him anyway. They thought he was strange, cursed maybe. The Dravari had banned all old human music generations ago. The last time someone hummed a melody, the sky burned for a week. One rainy evening, while cleaning the deepest part of the stables, a place where no one ever went, Kai noticed a wall that looked wrong. The stones were darker, smoother too, perfect. And in the center was a strange circle carved with glowing lines. He felt something stir inside him. His hand moved on its own. He touched the center of the circle. The stone moved. It slid open without a sound, revealing a tunnel that led into the mountain's heart. Warm air poured out, filled with the scent of dust and something older than time. He hesitated, but only for a moment. He stepped inside. The tunnel led down, far below the surface, through glowing crystal walls and carvings written in a language he didn't understand. It felt alive, like the mountain itself was humming beneath his feet. Finally, he reached a wide chamber, and there, in the center of the room, was a shape, massive, coiled, silent. A dragon. It was not like the wild beasts from old tales. This one was made of something darker, smoother. Its body looked like a mix of stone, star metal, and flowing light. It was sleeping, covered in ancient chains that pulsed with cold blue energy. Its wings were folded tight, and its eyes were closed. Yet Kai could feel its presence, huge and heavy like gravity. He took a step forward. The air shimmered. And then, one golden eye opened. Kai froze. He couldn't move. The dragon stared into his soul, and a voice filled his mind. Not loud, not angry, just ancient. You are the one we waited for. Kai stumbled back. I'm nobody. I'm just a stable boy. No, the voice said. You are Flameborn. The chamber shook. Cracks formed in the stone above. Dust fell. The dragon's chains lit up, fighting back against the awakening. But the dragon didn't rise. It just stared, calm and knowing. Touch the chain, it said. Kai's heart thundered. He stepped closer, reached out slowly, and placed his glowing hand on the nearest chain. It hissed and vanished like smoke. The dragon let out a soft breath that shook the walls. A warmth filled Kai's chest, spreading through his limbs like fire and wind mixed together. Something had begun. Behind him, boots slammed on metal. Shouts echoed down the tunnel. Dravari guards. They had followed the heat signature. They had seen the open wall. Kai turned to run, but the dragon's voice echoed again. Remember this moment, Kai of Earth. The first bond is made. The stars will burn, and the ancient ones will rise again. Kai sprinted back up the tunnel as lights flashed and the Dravari screamed in their own language. He burst through the hidden wall, which slid shut behind him just as the guards arrived. They grabbed him, dragged him through the mud, shouting questions he couldn't answer. But as they beat him and threw him back into the holding cage, he was not afraid, because something had changed. The dragon had seen him. The dragon had spoken. His name, and far beneath the ground, deep inside the mountain, the chains continued to melt, one by one. The boy who mucked the stables had touched the past, and now the dragons were waking. Rain fell hard over the darkened sky of Harkon 7 as Kai lay awake on the cold metal floor of his holding cage. The pain in his arms and ribs from the Dravari beatings still burned, but his mind was far away, back in the chamber, back with the dragon. The words echoed inside him. "You are Flameborn." He didn't know what it meant, but the way the dragon had looked at him, it was like it knew him better than he knew himself. His hands still held a faint warmth, as if the dragon's fire hadn't left him, but fear crawled in his chest, too. What would the Dravari do if they found out what he'd touched, what he'd awakened? Later that night, while the other cages were silent and the guards changed shifts, a shadow moved near Kai's cell. A short, robed figure crept close and whispered, "You touched the chains, didn't you?" Kai jumped up, startled. "Who are you?" he whispered back. The figure lowered the hood. It was a woman, human like him, with sharp green eyes and strange symbols glowing faintly on her skin. "Name's Zaya. I've been watching you," she said. "The song, the one in your dreams, it called others too. But only you got inside." Kai stared, confused. "What is this? What do you know?" Zaya glanced around, then unlocked the cage with a small metal device. "No time. We need to move. The Dravari High Council just sent a signal. They're bringing in the Death Hunters. Once they arrive, they'll wipe out this whole site to bury the truth." She grabbed his hand. "You're the last Flameborn, and the dragons are not extinct. They're asleep, waiting for you." They escaped into the tunnels, hiding behind steam vents and rusted pipes until they reached an old mining rail line. Zaya led him to a stolen Dravari bike and blasted them away into the outer zones, where the city lights vanished into mist. As they rode, she explained, "Long ago, humans could connect with dragons through voice, songs passed down from the stars. Your bloodline carried those songs. You were born with it, Kai. That's why you hear them. That's why the dragon woke." He felt dizzy. "But why me? I don't even know who my parents were." Zaya looked ahead. "That's because the Dravari erased your past. They fear your kind. Your voice is not just music. It's power." They stopped at a small, broken-down structure half buried in the sand. Zaya led him inside. It was filled with old tech, books, glowing maps, and a giant star map with blinking, red marks across the galaxy. "These are the resting places of the other dragons," she said. "Scattered, hidden, guarded by old machines and lies, but they're calling to you now. You've awakened the first bond. Others will hear it." Kai looked at the star map, heart pounding. "I'm just a stable boy," he whispered. Zaya looked at him. "Not anymore." Suddenly the screens in the room flashed red. An alert. "Dravari patrol ships incoming," Zaya growled. "They followed our trail." She handed Kai a small metallic cube. "Keep this with you. It holds the first verse of the Flameborn song. Don't use it unless you must. It will cost you." "Cost me what?" he asked. "Your life," she said coldly. "Your voice is fire. The more you use it, the more it burns." They ran to the back tunnel, chased by shadows. Drones buzzed above. Laser blasts tore through the ceiling. Zaya led them into a collapsing shaft that dropped them into an old power grid. There, in the silence, Kai heard it again, the soft humming of a voice. But it wasn't the first dragon. It was another, a new one. Kai looked around. The walls glowed. A pulse beat beneath the floor. He followed the sound until they reached a sealed chamber covered in strange carvings. The air was warmer here. Zaya touched one of the walls. "Ceres," she whispered. "The windfire." Kai felt drawn to the door. His hand lifted again on its own. Light spilled from his palm. The door responded. It slid open slowly. Inside, another dragon, sleek, silver blue, smaller than the first, opened its glowing eyes. Ceres. Her voice was lighter, faster. She looked at Kai and spoke into his mind. "I remember you, Flameborn, commander of skies." Kai stepped forward, chest full of strange emotion. "I don't know what I am," he said, "but I'll fight for those who can't." The dragon bowed her head. The second bond was made. And somewhere in the blackness of space, the Dravari Council watched from a distant tower, eyes cold, voices sharp. "Prepare the Death Hunters. He's waking them, all of them." The ground trembled as Ceres, the windfire dragon, unfolded her shimmering wings for the first time in centuries. Her body was sleek like liquid metal, her eyes like stars. As Kai stood in her glowing chamber, he felt a rush of memories that weren't his. Images flashed in his mind, humans riding dragons through the skies of long-dead worlds, songs that bent gravity, voices that tore holes in space. But just as quickly, the visions vanished, leaving only heat and questions behind. Zaya placed a hand on his shoulder. "She remembers you. Not your body, your soul. Flameborn are reborn across ages to guide the dragons back." Kai's voice was barely a whisper. "I don't feel like a guide. I feel like a scared kid with dirt under his nails." "Good," Zaya said. "Fear means you're still human. Power without fear becomes something else, something dangerous." But before Kai could respond, Ceres spoke, not with words, but with thought and sound layered in emotion. "The others sleep still. We are two of many. The bond is growing, but danger grows faster." Zaya's wrist comm blinked red. She swore under her breath. "The Death Hunters have landed. 4 ships. Scanners say they're heading for the lower tunnels." "Can we fight them?" Kai asked. Zaya looked at him, then at Ceres. "Not yet. You're not ready, but you can. Run. And find the next dragon." With a flick of her tail, Ceres triggered a hidden exit in the chamber wall. A circular platform rose from the floor, revealing a transport sphere, ancient human tech lost during the Dravari purges. "It still works?" Kai asked. "Only when a Flameborn touches it," Zaya said. "Go, I'll lead them off your trail." "No," Kai said. "I can't leave you here." Zaya smiled for the first time. "You can. And you will. Because if they get to you, everything ends." She placed a pendant around his neck. "This belonged to the last Flameborn before you. He sang a storm that cracked a moon. You'll do more." Before he could argue, Ceres nudged him into the transport. The sphere closed, locking him inside. Zaya stepped back, already pulling her weapon from her belt. "Find the next dragon, Kai. Wake them all." With a flash of white light, the sphere launched through the underground rails, faster than sound, cutting through miles of stone like fire through paper. Inside, Kai held tight, the world a blur outside the glass. He had no idea where it would stop, only that another dragon was calling. Meanwhile, far above, the Dravari Death Hunters entered the old base. Their armor hissed with smoke, faces hidden, behind sharp, bone-like masks. They moved like machines, fast and perfect. Zaya waited for them in the shadows, her blade glowing with ancient tech. She struck first. She struck hard. But she knew it was a losing fight. Her job wasn't to win. It was to buy time. The transport sphere exploded out of a mountainside on the far end of the continent, sending rocks and dust into the air. Kai tumbled out, coughing, blinking in the harsh sunlight. Ahead lay a vast desert, cracked, red, endless. The wind sang like a whisper. The heat was brutal, but the song was louder now, clearer. Another dragon was near. Kai walked for hours, following the pull in his chest until he saw it. A great ruin in the shape of a broken ship, half buried in the sand. Vines and metal twisted together, and strange statues lined the entrance. He stepped inside carefully. The air was cooler here, old. He moved down winding halls of stone and steel until he reached another chamber. This one was colder, darker, and then eyes opened in the shadows. A third dragon rose, this one black as night, with gold cracks glowing across its body like veins of fire. Its voice entered Kai's mind like thunder wrapped in silk. "You are late, Flameborn." "I'm sorry," Kai whispered. "I'm trying to understand." "Understanding comes later. First, awaken me." Kai stepped forward, placing both hands on the cracked floor. This time, he didn't need help. He let the song rise in his chest, soft at first, then growing louder. It wasn't words. It was sound, truth, fire. The chains broke. The dragon rose. The third bond was sealed. Back on Harkon 7, Zaya lay bleeding among the ruins of the base, surrounded by fallen death hunters. Her voice cracked as she whispered into her calm. "He's still alive, and he's waking them, one by one." The stars were shifting, and war was coming. Kai stood in silence as the third dragon, Malor the Nightfire, unfolded its wings inside the ruined ship. Dust fell from the ceiling, the floor hummed beneath his feet, and deep in his chest something was changing. Each dragon he awakened didn't just remember him. They added something to him, a memory, a feeling, a power. Malor's voice was colder than the others, calm and sharp like a blade. "Three voices now burn in your spirit. You are no longer just a boy. You are the beginning of reckoning." Outside, the wind howled across the desert. Inside, Kai struggled to breathe. The bonds with the dragons felt heavier now, like carrying stars inside his bones. "Why me?" he asked aloud. "I was just a stable boy. I cleaned up messes. I never fought anyone." "You did fight," Malor said. "Every day. Against despair. Against fear. You were forged by suffering, not privilege. That is why the dragons chose you. Power without pain is hollow." Kai barely nodded. The truth stung, because it felt right. But he didn't have time to reflect. Alarms echoed through the distant corridors, metallic, shrill. Through a broken window, he saw the horizon light up with red trails, Dravari strike pods dropping from orbit. "They found me," he said. Malor stepped forward, his voice like a growl beneath the earth. "I can carry you beyond their reach, but not far. My wings are not fully healed. The final dragons rest in colder places, deeper places. You must reach them soon, or the others will fall." The dragon lowered his head, allowing Kai to climb onto his back. The moment he touched Malor's scales, wind exploded outward. Fire burst from the dragon's chest, and with a deafening roar, they shot into the sky, breaking through clouds, past the screaming desert winds. Below, Dravari soldiers opened fire, but they were too slow. Too late. Kai looked down at the world, smaller now beneath him. For the first time, he didn't feel like a prisoner. He felt like a storm. But in orbit above Harkon 7, inside a floating black citadel, the Dravari High Council watched through glowing screens. One of them, robed in red with 6 silver eyes, turned to the others. "He has awakened 3. If he reaches the 4th, the seal will break," another voice replied, cold and deep. "Then let us send the warden." Elsewhere, on a cold moon orbiting a gas giant, an ancient prison flickered to life. Inside, sealed in ice and chains, a massive creature opened its eyes. Humanoid, armored, older than time. A Dravari experiment gone wrong. A killer designed to hunt dragonkind. The warden. And now, it was free. Meanwhile, Mailer soared across the edge of the planet before landing near a deep crater hidden beneath a field of glass-like ice. "She sleeps below," the dragon said. "But she is not like the others. She was wounded in the last war. Her heart may not welcome you." Kai walked alone into the crater, descending through frozen tunnels carved long ago by plasma fire. It was quiet. No wind, no sound, only cold. His breath turned white. The walls sparkled like diamond. At the end of the tunnel, a massive cocoon of glowing crystal pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. As he reached out, the cold bit into his skin. "Please," he whispered. "I don't know who I was, but I want to protect who I am now. I want to stop the Dravari. I want to stop the war." The crystal cracked. With a sound like shattering stars, the cocoon burst open, and the fourth dragon emerged. She was enormous, covered in glistening silver and violet scales, her wings scarred but powerful. Her eyes opened slowly, focusing on Kai. But there was no warmth in her gaze. "I remember your face. I remember your song. But I also remember your betrayal." Kai froze. "Betrayal? In another life, you failed us. You promised to protect us and left us to burn. I died for your silence." Kai stepped back, heart pounding. "That wasn't me. I didn't know. I didn't remember." "Memories do not lie," she said. "If I wake, I do so not for trust, but for vengeance." The chamber trembled as the dragon lifted her head, voice rising. But before she could strike, a sudden blast rocked the cave. The roof cracked, chunks of ice falling. A black shape dropped from above, massive, armored, breathing smoke. The warden had arrived, and it wanted blood. The warden stepped from the smoke like a walking nightmare. Nearly 3 times Kai's height, its body shimmered with dark metal fused to alien bone, as if a machine had eaten a god. Crimson eyes blazed beneath its helm, and its breath came. In short, sharp bursts that made the ice crack around it. Its arms ended in long blades, curved and black, pulsing with strange red light. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. Its purpose was simple: kill the Flameborn and end the rise of dragons forever. Kai's legs refused to move. The cold had frozen his hands, but the warden's presence froze his soul. Even the newly awakened dragon, the fourth, scarred and silver, hesitated. Her eyes narrowed, her breath deepened, but she did not attack. "I've seen this creature before," she whispered into Kai's mind. "It hunted us during the fall. It never lost." "But you're a dragon," Kai said, voice cracking. "You can stop it." "I am still healing. My flame is weak. If I fight now, I fall." The warden lunged. It moved like smoke and shadow, far too fast for something so big. It slashed with its right blade, and Kai barely ducked. The strike tore a chunk of crystal from the wall, sending shards flying like razors. Kai scrambled backward, heart hammering. But he couldn't outrun something that didn't breathe or bleed. The dragon stepped forward, shielding Kai with one massive wing. The warden struck again, this time with both arms. Metal clashed against scale, and the impact shook the chamber. The dragon growled, struggling to hold her ground. Blood, glowing and violet, dripped from her wounds. "I can't let you fight." "For me," Kai said. "I have to help." The dragon's voice trembled with rage and pain. "Then awaken the fifth. He sleeps beneath the glass river. His power may be enough." "How do I get there?" Kai asked. "Sing. Let the bond guide. You, call him. Dragons always hear the Flameborn's voice. Kai stood tall, even as the warden loomed over them both, raising its blades for a killing blow. He closed his eyes and let the fire rise inside his chest, not from anger, but from sorrow, from memory, from hope. He sang, not with words, but with the same ancient sound that had awakened the others. The song was raw and loud, trembling with fear, but burning with power. The ground cracked. Far beneath the glacier, something stirred. The wardens slashed down. The dragon screamed in pain and collapsed, shielding Kai with her body. Blood splattered the ice. The warden raised its blade again, but suddenly a shock wave ripped through the cave. A beam of golden light shot up from the ground, breaking through layers of ice and stone. The cave exploded in fire and dust. From below, the fifth dragon rose. He was built like a fortress, heavy, armored with golden horns like blades and fire that dripped from his mouth. His roar shattered the ceiling, and his wings spread wide, pushing the warden back with a gust of raw force. The warden staggered for the first time, unsure. The fifth dragon's voice echoed in Kai's soul. "You dared wake me, little one? You sang my name across stone. That takes courage. Or madness." Kai coughed, barely able to stand. "I don't know which one I am anymore." "Good. Let's find out together." The golden dragon charged. The battle shook the sky. Flame met blade. Roars filled the air. The warden moved fast, but the fifth dragon was fury made flesh. Each attack knocked chunks of ice and metal into the air. Finally, with a burst of fire, the dragon slammed the warden against the cavern wall, pinning it. "Finish it!" Kai yelled, but the warden only smiled, then whispered a word in an ancient tongue. The entire mountain exploded in a blinding flash of red. When Kai opened his eyes, he was outside, buried in snow. The crater was gone. Smoke filled the sky. The golden dragon was gone. The warden was gone. Only silence remained. Kai looked around, dazed. The pendant Zaya had given him pulsed. On his chest, he was still alive, somehow. But he was alone again, until a voice spoke behind him. "You survived the warden," it said. "That means you're ready for the last dragon." Kai turned. Zaya stood in the snow, bruised, burned, and breathing, but alive. She smiled weakly. "Come on, Flameborn. One more dragon to wake, and then the stars will burn." The wind howled across the broken ice fields, carrying ash and snow through the air. Kai stood in silence, staring at the jagged horizon where the fifth dragon had vanished and the warden had fallen. He could still feel the fire deep in the ground, flickering like a heartbeat. But it was faint now, almost gone. The world around him was wounded, and so was he. Zaya stepped beside him, her coat torn, her face bruised but still calm. "You've come far, stable boy," she said softly. "Most people would have broken after the first dragon. But you kept going." "I didn't have a choice," Kai replied, his voice hoarse. "They killed everyone I knew. They burned my world. I couldn't let that be the end." Zaya looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "Then you're ready." "Ready for what?" he asked. She turned, pointing toward the horizon. Far in the distance stood a dark mountain shaped like a claw reaching toward the sky. Lightning curled around its peak. Thunder rumbled beneath it. "That's where the last dragon sleeps. The oldest, the first, the one they buried in silence, because even the stars feared its name." Kai felt the pendant on his chest grow warmer. The fire inside him pulsed harder, stronger. "What kind of dragon is it?" Zaya's eyes narrowed. "Not what. Who?" "Her name is Solthara, the Skyburner. She is not just a dragon. She is memory. She remembers the birth of stars and the fall of empires. If she wakes, She will change. Everything. Then let's wake her, Kai said. It's not that simple, Zaya warned. Solthara isn't like the others. She was betrayed. She was sealed by her own kind because she refused to let the Dravari control her. She doesn't trust humans. She doesn't trust anyone. Kai looked toward the mountain. I don't need her to trust me. I just need her to hear me. They began the journey together, crossing dead fields, frozen rivers, and black forests. Every step pulled at Kai's strength. The further they went, the heavier his body felt, as if the mountain itself was testing him, trying to break him before he even arrived. At the base of the mountain, they found a gate carved from stone and bone. Symbols glowed along the walls, ancient, runes written in the language of dragons. Kai stepped forward, placing his hand on the cold surface. Suddenly, a voice echoed all around them, loud, vast, filled with rage and sorrow. You dare come here, Flameborn? Do you think you are worthy? Do you think I have forgotten? Kai didn't flinch. I'm not here to be forgiven. I'm here because the stars are dying. I'm here because the dragons are almost gone. I need your fire. Not for war, but for freedom. You carry 5 voices, Solthara said. But you are still small, still breakable, still mortal. Kai looked up. Then let me burn with you, if that's the cost. There was a long silence. Then the gate cracked open. Inside, the chamber was vast. Walls shimmered with crystal, veins. A deep pit burned at the center like a sun buried underground, and curled within that fire was Solthara. She was larger than any dragon he had seen. Her wings stretched across the sky, her body made of light and shadow, her eyes older than time. She lifted her head slowly, studying him. When she spoke, it shook the ground. You are not the one I expected, but you carry the voice. You carry the pain, and pain is truth. Kai stepped closer. Then will you fight? Solthara's eyes glowed. I will do more than fight. I will awaken the stars, she roared, and the mountain cracked open. Fire shot into the heavens. All across the galaxy, sleeping dragons stirred. Sealed gates trembled, lost weapons reignited. The Flameborn had called, and the age of silence ended. On distant worlds, the Dravari screamed in panic. Their dark ships turned toward Harkon 7. The hunt had failed, the war had returned, but this time, the dragons were not alone. Kai stood atop the mountain, the wind roaring around him, Solthara soaring above. The pendant on his chest shattered, its purpose fulfilled. No longer just a boy who mucked stables, no longer a forgotten orphan. Now he was the storm that woke the sky, and as fire spread across the stars, one truth burned brighter than all. The stable boy had become the end of empires.